I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers who want to stay calm, anchored, and like how they show up in the world. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 193, The Power of Self-Reflection. Welcome to this new episode. I am so glad that many of you re-listen to your favorite episodes in weeks when I don't have a new episode for you. I hope you're enjoying a really nice spring, beginning of summer. I am enjoying beautiful Carolina blue skies, which make up for the awful pollen that we had earlier this spring. Sunshine does my body, soul, and spirit so much good. Okay, today, the power of self-reflection. The ideas for this episode started a few months ago when my husband and I had a funny and revealing situation occur. We generally sleep with our blackout blinds securely closed so we sleep well and aren't interrupted by light. But when the weather cooperates, we like to have the window open for some fresh air. We noticed last fall that a fairly bright light was coming into our bedroom at night if the blinds were up, letting us get some cool air. We both made side comments to each other that we were surprised our backyard neighbors kept their first floor lights on during the night. The backyards of our neighborhood are pretty close together, so when we looked out at night, this is what we saw, our neighbor's window. We then just ignored the light, as some nights we had the window open and some nights not. Then, many weeks or a few months later, I had a very funny thought and revelation. I stopped, and with a lot of curiosity, I asked myself, what light is on our first floor patio that might be reflected back in the giant glass of our neighbor's back windows? I then remembered that we have cafe lights strung on our first floor back patio, and we often leave them plugged in and on at night. I mentioned this to my husband, the idea that maybe the light that was mildly bugging us was really a reflection of our patio lights. We both smiled and decided to experiment that night. We unplugged the patio lights, and sure enough, the light reflecting into our bedroom from supposedly our neighbor's first floor was suddenly gone. We laughed and are now intentional on when the lights are on or off. Because this is how my brain works, I quickly asked myself, how does this apply to me as a person? How does this patio light reflection situation apply to all of us as people and how we interact with the world? Where are people reflecting back to us a quality we are showing up with, either good or bad? How do I tell if it's my light or their light that's the problem? In the model I teach you, is the problem in my lane, which is my responsibility, or a problem in their lane and I need to ignore it and let it go? Where am I bugged by someone else and actually I'm the source of the irritation? I thought of a quote I see often on social media attributed to Leland Val Van de Waal. The degree to which a person can grow is directionally proportional to the amount of truth they can accept about themselves without running away. This quote comes up often in my feed and it always makes me pause. I wonder what truth I'm running from, what truth am I blind to, which is blocking some growth or happiness. I want to teach you a few tools that create self-reflection and the benefits of being curious and gaining awareness. Before I do that, though, it's always good to understand what's going on in our body and brain when we do this, because real self-confidence comes when we trust our body and can handle how we're going to feel no matter what. When we are self-reflective and curiously observe our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own actions, words, mannerisms, our own nervous system responses, we're engaging our higher brain, our prefrontal cortex, and we're able to determine if who we are showing up as is in alignment with our values and who we want to be. When we are curious and non-judgmental, we're being self-aware and being self-compassionate. Suddenly, we aren't reacting. We're pausing to assess our emotions and behaviors while also evaluating other people in the situation. We want to actively create that space between the stimulus and response in our life so we like who we are. Reflection keeps us grounded in the green, in our parasympathetic response. Reflection can only happen when we are not in fight, flight, or freeze, the red and gray zones. So we won't be able, and we shouldn't be self-reflective when we're stressed, overwhelmed, or sensing any danger. Self-reflection comes when we're feeling a sense of safety. We're calm and connected. And increasing our green zone, our calm and connected zone, is exactly what we want to do and model for our children. The most powerful tool I have found to initiate deep reflection is using a practice I learned from Pema Chodron called the just like me practice. When we have an irritation or a strong statement about another person, we put just like me at the end of it. Let's start simple and use our cute teenagers as the objects of irritation. My teenager is spending money on things that aren't important, just like me. Yep, I can easily identify things I spend money on that might not seem important to other people. My teenager is worried about what people think about her on social media, just like me. Okay, yes, I can definitely access a part of me that wants to show my best side and cares what people think. Just like me helps us see that we're all humans. We are all more alike than not. We drop the judgment and connect with our teens where they are, being teenagers, a place we all were at one time. Last week, my daughter seemed extra stressed about what her freshman college bedroom would look like, how I'd help her decorate. She seemed to be crossing the line into a demanding and entitled tone of voice, which was triggering to me. And I know I shut down with that. I told myself, she's never lived away from home. This is all new and scary to her. And she really wants to know that she'll be comfortable in her college bedroom, just like me. I took myself back to the summer before going to college and I saw the things I worried about. I was just like her. Well, without social media examples, but still, I was like her and had similar insecurities and worries. I wanted to know my parents had my back to help me adjust. And even today, I want to know I'll feel comfortable and safe in any place I'm going. Taking 60 seconds to pause and see how her stress was one that I can relate to helped me respond to her with curiosity and assurance, not the reprimanding of entitlement that came to me first. Just like me allowed me to see what's going on and handle it with patience instead of irritation. As my parents age, they are increasingly frustrated with technology, and of course, they quickly cannot use what they used to be able to use. I needed a way to handle their outbursts with patience. So I'd say to myself, they are overwhelmed by technology just like me. I don't know TikTok well. So I said to myself, imagine if my entire life, paying my bills, communicating with anyone, was all via TikTok. I'd be frustrated as I learned it. I'd be confused where to click. I wouldn't know which way to swipe to open an email. This quickly helped me access patience and compassion instead of judgment and my own irritation. Saying just like me and identifying how I can be just like that other person is like a bridge to help me then use other tools, such as asking, okay, who do I want to be in this situation? Who do I want to be with a stressed and scared teenager? Do I want to reflect back the stress and fear? Or can I be a calm sounding board? Who do I want to be with frustrated parents? Can I move past frustration to patience and understanding? Self-reflection then allows us to take action, seeing the real problem for what it is and make real change, like with our patio lights. Real change happened when we unplugged our lights. Self-reflection empowered us. Self-reflection equally empowers us in relationships with others. I'm back in my lane when I decide I'm going to sit and listen to my daughter's bedroom designs, ask her why she wants certain things, help her find videos and tours, and calm her nerves. When I did this, she dropped the entitled tone of voice because she realized I'm on her team. She didn't feel her own emotional danger anymore. See how self-reflection doesn't keep us stuck. It moves us through a hard situation and to get us to the other side where we can find connection and calm. My self-reflection empowers me with my parents to access the things that they need, understanding and validation. They feel seen and quickly calm down. My self-reflection helps them self-regulate back to their own zone of connection, the green zone. Another tool to create self-reflection is to ask ourselves, how do I contribute to this dynamic? This question doesn't come from blame, it comes from empowerment. The question gets us back in our lane where we do have control. Years ago, I noticed a friend was very standoffish and stayed at a very arm's length from me. I wasn't sure why, but I asked myself, how have I been this way? How have I created this dynamic where they want to stay a bit farther from me? Those hard and vulnerable self-realizations allowed me to see, oh, I haven't been the best friend. Oh, I haven't reached out. I have been cooler with her rather than warmer. I haven't prioritized that relationship. Since I did really value the relationship, I visualized how I would show up if I thought of her as my BFF. I visualized how I'd talk, what I would invite her to. I visualized no defensiveness, and I changed. Over time, there was a very big change in the relationship, all because I changed. And that change started with self-reflection and honestly owning how this person was reflecting back to me my own characteristics. If the relationship hadn't been important to me, I wouldn't have changed. But since it was and still is, I was empowered to change and could see what I needed to do. I started being the person I wanted to be in relationship with. When we ask what part of the dynamic we play, we see ways we can be sensitive to another person's innate nervous system responses. My husband is usually very stressed and anxious when we head to the airport. He isn't calm until we're at the gate, and it drives me bananas. He needs to get there very early, and his nervous system amps up well before we leave. I hate traveling with him if I perceive his stress is just uncalled for. At one point, I asked myself, well, what part of this dynamic was my fault? Now, I know this is a response from some past feeling of danger for him, but I was quickly able to notice, I could be more sensitive and send him signals that I care about the time, even if I'm not stressed. I can communicate better. I can be sensitive to this stress of his instead of disregard it and judge it. Being bothered in such a big way is just reflecting back to him stress and fear. When I decided to respect his stress and fear, I was able to send signals of safety and understanding, which calm his nervous system in just a small way. Above all, I changed and became the partner and spouse I want to be, and I get to like how I show up in our marriage. So like that example shows us, people often are interacting with us because of their own self, their own nervous system wiring, because of their own insecurities. Often we are not the source or answer to why someone is acting the way they are. These tools still work because we can operate in a more regulated and confident place. We still can respond as an equal human and not take responsibility for how others act. It certainly takes discernment and practice. It usually takes curiosity and a solid sense of who we are to discern when the light is coming from our neighbor's house or when it's coming from our own. As in the situation I began with, at closer observation, I could have seen that the neighbor did in fact have a light on, and I have no control over that light. That easily could have been the situation. By being curious, calm, and open to introspection and change, I was able to determine where the light was coming from and improve my own situation, since action was in my control. Often we don't have control of others, but in some cases, we will find we can change. My turning off our light, well, we most likely improve the night for all of our neighbors. By noticing how other people's stresses, frustrations, fears, and more are similar to our own, and changing our own demeanor and nervous system, we do have a positive impact on those around us. Self-reflection gives us many gifts. We become less judgmental and more curious, which connects us to others. We're able to increase our own zone of tolerance, our green zone. We feel more confident to handle emotionally heightened situations with calm. Since our vibe attracts our tribe, we will be people who will attract other self-aware people into our lives. We will see the ways we can change and develop, and we'll be empowered to make those changes. And we can release control over people in situations where we are not the problem. If we want self-reflective and self-aware children, we have to model this to them. Once they see us do it, they'll develop the emotional safety and awareness to do it themselves. That's it for this week. If you would like help implementing these tools directly in your life and improving your family dynamics, please DM me on social media or email me at heidi@heidibenjaminson.com. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.